Down 2 is an 18 frame mid that on hit nets you plus 4 frames of advantage and puts the opponent into full crouch. More importantly, on block, this move is 0 with a large amount of pushback. Now, this is super important and also good because not only is it 0 on block, so essentially you and your opponent are going to be acting at the same time, but the space it creates enables you to play off of your opponent, and that if they whiff buttons, you can handily whiff punish them. It allows you to take a lot of different actions, sidewalk, sidestep, backdash, block, whiff punish, depending on how your opponent likes to react to down 2 on block. So it enables a lot of counterplay. It kind of plays into Victor's defensive play style. Now, as you can see at the hit properties down below, it is also a heat engager. So here, as you can see, heat engager. Simultaneously, this move, if heat dash canceled, you can get a full combo from it. So that is important to think about as well. This move is so essential to Victor's game plan because, like I talked about earlier, it enables you to play off of your opponent and that you can see how they like to react to the move, and then you can utilize your other tools to beat whatever option they like to go for afterwards. Not only that, the range is so great that you can use this as a sort of get in tool because obviously if you hit it, you are going to heat engage and you have offensive pressure from there. But it keeps the opponent away from you, and that plays into Victor's defensive playstyle, and that he wants to keep you at a distance where his more defensive moves like down back 4 or back 1+2 are going to be empowered or more strong, if that makes sense. Another important function of down 2 is that it does chip damage, which is actually very important because Victor's neutral game, he does not have a lot of ways to mix up the opponent from neutral. He more or less wants to play defensively and look for those big counter hit opportunities. So it can be hard to make your opponent want to duck in neutral, and if they're playing defensively, it can be very difficult to kind of net those counter hits in the first place. However, chip damage on moves like this kind of enables you to pressure your opponent in a way that you don't really necessarily have to mix them up. You can keep chipping them with these moves and annoy them to the point where they kind of have to approach you, because if you keep chipping them and you do land one of those counter hitting options, they're going to lose a lot of health. There are a lot of inherent weaknesses of down 2, however. This move has no tracking to either direction, unless it's in certain frame differentials, which we will talk about, but for the most part, this move does not track in either direction, which is something to think about. Also, like we talked about, the move is 18 frames, so it's really not that fast. It's fairly slow. So a lot of the times you can get interrupted for doing this move. So it has its inherent risks. Although it is very good, you will see a common trend for a lot of Victor's great moves is that although they are fantastic and great at what they do, you want to pick your spots carefully, because if your opponent beats the move via a sidestep or interrupts you, then it's going to be very bad for Victor. So with a lot of his moves, you just have to place them very carefully. But let's talk about moves that complement down 2, because down 2 on itself, although fantastic, a lot of the times it can be difficult to land because your opponent is sidewalking or sidestepping in either direction, or hitting really fast moves or up in your face, right? So it can feel like, although you want to use it, it feels impossible to use this move sometimes because your opponent's just overwhelming you. However, Victor has a few moves that alleviate this problem in a sense. Now, any move that leaves you +8, this move, down 2, becomes a move that is not able to be sidewalked or sidestepped in either direction. The only thing that beats it is a jab or a 10-frame move, but even then, if you trade with a 10-frame move, the trade is highly in Victor's favor. So let's go ahead and talk about a few moves that achieve that. The first one is going to be a jab. So after a jab, your opponent cannot sidestep right or left in either direction to beat your down 2. It tracks both ways. Simultaneously, 1-2 is also +8, so after 1-2, your opponent cannot sidewalk or sidestep in either direction. They will get hit by this move. Another move is 1-1. Similar to 1-2, kind of serves in that same purpose. Your opponent cannot sidestep to either direction to beat 1-1. These are important moves to utilize in conjunction with down 2, and that up close, you want to kind of be fishing for these to hit, and then you can use down 2 with little to no risk. There is the inherent risk that even though they cannot sidestep this move and they do trade with, if they do attempt to jab into down 2, as you can see here, very favorable for me. The opponent is in full crouch. They take the full brunt of down 2. It does say 13 frames of advantage. You are not guaranteed any 13 frame punish, but you do have a large amount of advantage. There are 2 options that straight up beat this option, down 2, so you do want to be careful if your opponent has the tendency to do so, which is power crushes and rage art. A jab into down 2, that will beat it, and then if the opponent were to do a rage art, that would also beat it as well. So you do have to be careful about that. The last move that I'm going to be talking about that works in conjunction with down 2, like the aforementioned jab and jab strings, is wall standing 1+2. So wall standing 1+2 is a wall standing 13 frame mid-mid string that on hit is +8 and on block is -8. So like I mentioned before, anything that is +8 is going to give us that down 2 scenario that we've been talking about for a lot of this video. Wall standing 1+2 is interesting as its purpose is used differently than our jab and jab strings, and that we are not using wall standing 1+2 at ranges such as these, where we're trying to quickly interrupt our opponent or check them with our fast highs. We are more or less trying to throw it out in neutral to score a hit and then do down 2, or we are trying to frame trap our opponent with moves such as down back 4 and a wall standing 1+2 and perfumer 1 and a wall standing 1+2. Wall standing 1+2 has good tracking to Victor's right side, however it does not track well to Victor's left side. So if I put the opponent to sidestep left or even sidewalk left, we will see that the opponent cannot sidestep our wall standing 1+2. However, sidestep right beats wall standing 1+2 cleanly. The second part of the string often connects with the opponent if they just sidestep. After moves like perfumer 1 or down back 4, given that we are +4 frames, the frame differential creates a frame trap scenario where the opponent cannot sidestep or sidewalk in either direction. There are some exceptions to this. Lily can sidestep right our frame trap. If she tries to sidewalk right, however, we will catch her with the wall standing 1+2. Elisa is interesting in that if she tries to sidestep right, she often will get hit by the second hit. However, if she sidewalks right, she avoids it completely. 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, and wall standing 1+2 create a scenario where down 2 has far less counterplay when being defended against, making these moves in conjunction highly essential. The last thing that I'd like to talk about in regard to down 2 is that you want to solely rely on the moves that I have mentioned in order to reliably land or have blocked your down 2s. And that even if there is a frame differential that is slightly less than +8, it will change the way your opponent can interact with down 2. For example, Victor's down forward 1-1 is +7 on hit. If we try to down 2 afterwards, our opponent can cleanly sidewalk and sidestep right our down 2, even though it is only a frame differential of 1. They can also sidewalk to the left our down 2. However, they will get caught if they try to sidestep left. Keep in mind that as the frame differential goes down, that allows our opponent to respond in more ways, which becomes dangerous for us. For example, if we are only +7, that allows our opponent to respond and trade with our down 2 at 11 frames. Down 2 is an essential tool for Victor that not only allows him to apply his offensive pressure, simultaneously, down 2 acts as a core pressure and defensive move that allows Victor to play at a more comfortable range where he can effectively play off of his opponent's mistakes.